And for more on this, we are joined in the Beijing studio, Huang, who is the founding partner of Jadestone Venture and also former managing director of Intel China. Welcome to our program, Mr. Huang. In Tokyo, we're joined by William Saito, who is a special advisor to the Japanese cabinet and also founder of Intecur, an international technology consulting and advisory firm. Welcome as well. In Washington, D.C., we are joined by Dr. Ernest McDuffie, a computer scientist and founder of Global McDuffie Group. Gentlemen, I want to start by asking you whether we should take pleasure in enjoying whether it is the poker match, AI vis-a-vis human being, or the Go match, AI vis-a-vis human being. Mr. Saito.
I think that the poker match where AI has definitely beaten humans it took me by surprise, but it takes it to a whole new level because what this shows is that AI can actually now trick people and use the subtleties of poker, which really don't manifest itself in Go. So I am actually quite surprised that poker was defeated so quickly.
So trick ourselves, actually, it is the thing that you are concerned a little bit about and surprised by. Mr. McDuffie, what about you?
Yeah, I think the poker victory was certainly significant. AI has come a long way in the last 5 to 10 years for sure. I don't know if I would categorize it as tricking human beings. There's a certain strategy in poker that deals with bluffing and incomplete knowledge that certainly has fundamentals associated with it that can be learned and improved upon. So it's, the software is proving to be very adaptable to that environment.
In other words, Mr. Duffy, did I understand you right that the poker, when it comes to AI, they still do not have so-called emotion in order to trick us, but rather a self-learning capability to the degree it can to trick us as a result of previous precedents? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Emotion is actually a negative aspect for a poker player. You don't want to give away, you got a good hand and you show it in your face, you'll lose. But to not have a good hand and bluff is determined to be a really positive strategy, but you have to know when's the most advantageous time to do it. But it's not an emotional thing, it's a game strategy. Yeah.
Mr. Huang.
Yeah. I think the significance for this time's AI win is the poker game is so-called imperfect information scenario. People even say, and it is a metaphor for stock market, for example. And also the latest AI, and my understanding is developed by Carnegie Mellon University, the CMU, and they said that the algorithm is not specially designed for poker game. You have a wide application. So that means, and then this could be used for other imperfect information scenarios, for example, stock market. So that have a much wider application than just win a few poker games.
What's wrong with that? Well, Mr. Saito, I do want to ask that question. I mean, why don't we just, in the future, employ a few AI to do the stock market for us? We sit back at home, we can enjoy whatever we want to do at the time.
It tends to be quite scary until we get used to it. What's interesting about all of this is we think it goes away, but society accepts this when this gets integrated in subtle ways and is used in many, many ways that AI already exists. So I think I agree with you that there's really not much concern in the way of how this will benefit humans, and that we could also then apply our humanness to other new things and to different things. And these automated tasks especially, we can rely on AI to take care of some things. Now, stock market is a different scenario where if AI against AI, I don't know how that'll turn out, but I do agree that it does benefit.
That's likely to be a competition between labs and among universities. Mr. Huang, what about that scenario?
Right.
You sit back at home, okay, you lose in your poker game against the AIs, but it's okay, right? You just want to have a game. And on the other hand, you have all of them working for you, including at the stock market, earning huge bucks. What is wrong with it?
So it could be, the impact could be like 50% of the people who cannot find a job. Their job has been replaced by AI. The other 15% 50% of the people. And then with AI help them, their life may be much, much better. So depending how you look at that, there's some of the people may think they're really, really happy to see AI coming to help them. And then the other half population, or even bigger, found that they couldn't find a job. And then we can see the society is more polarized. And then even than today people are worried about the rich become richer, poor become poorer. I think with AI, we could see the even bigger gap between these two.
Dr. McDuffie, you want to also be a philanthropist like Mr. Huang, for example, worrying about the have AIs and have not AIs.
So I think in the short term, it's going to be a major benefit to mankind in general. Certainly, there's the disruptive factor for a workplace. There's predictions here in the United States that some 50% of current jobs that are employed by humans will no longer be human jobs, and by 2020, 2025, really not that far off in the future. So there's that disruption, but I think that you're really outweighed that by the potential benefits. The fear factor, I think, comes in from the almost, you could call it the science fiction scenario, where artificial intelligence becomes just barely equal to human intelligence, but then you amplify it with the fact that electronics are operating at about 1 million times faster than the biochemistry of the normal human brain. So
I know that's what you're thinking.
You could have super intelligence.
I know that's what you're thinking, Dr. McDuffie. You're thinking about science fiction. In reality, though, what is likely to happen in the very near future? Let's have Mr. Saito to explain for us. Is it going to be like the science fiction that the AI is likely to have this self-learning capabilities, even about emotions, and eventually be able to go beyond what the human being will be able to do? Or actually, it is going to be just a companion and a tool of the human society? Which direction do you think, Mr. Saito, we're going right now?
No, I think that's a really good question. But if you think about it, inevitably, the way that human brains and human minds think, science has established that it's not magic, that these are chemical reactions that we do, and that ultimately I do believe that computing will outtake humans and the way they think. Now, how society copes with that, there are other technologies that are already outdo humans anyway. Cars move faster than human beings, for example. So there are things that already do things better. Now, the human brain and how we then compete with this in both the short term and the long term, there are going to be issues. One of the things that I bring up, like the other speakers have mentioned, is that grade school kids today, by the time they are in the job market, 65% of the jobs won't exist. And so it's how to train these kids to be ready for the new jobs, but that this inevitable, we know in this particular case that it's going to happen. So unlike other innovations in the past, we can actually predict the future and actually get ahead of it. And so that's, I think, one of the unique both threats and opportunities that this technology provides.
Mr. Huang, AI, in a way, fascinates us because it's likely to transform a lot of different areas of human society, particularly about the jobs and also about the professional places. Mr. Huang, where do you think this is going if AI is not working on the so-called emotion self-learning part, only on the skills and the precedence so-called self-learning part? How big a challenge is it? Can humans have a say about which direction it is going, given the division we have in our society today?
I don't worry about, say, as a whole, say, AI is going to replace a human being. And as some science fiction movie has been tell us, I don't worry about that. But I do think about, as individual, every one of us should be thinking about how well we prepare to embrace the inevitable error of with AI. For example, if you're a taxi driver today, and then maybe in 5 years your job will not be there, and you need to worry about and figure out how are we going to cope with that. And then for the younger generation, for example, and it appears this machine learning has learned very, very fast.
I mean, AI has been there, this slogan, beyond what the human can do. 60 years, 60, gentlemen. And it only reached where it is today. Are we exaggerating the whole thing now again, Dr. McDuffie?
I think this time is ultimately different than before.
Did you say that also last
PhD
time? Did you say that also last time, Dr. McDuffie?
No. Just for a little background, I mean, I've been in the field of artificial intelligence for the last 25 years at least.
Right.
And I saw the ups and downs and the dark winters and the goals not being reached. But a couple of things are fundamentally different today than they were then. Number one is the availability of compute power, the ability to crunch numbers at an unbelievable rate and the volume. The idea of big data. Most automatic learning systems are successful because of the amount of data available for them to train and learn on. This is first time in human history that these two things have come together with the algorithms and the advances in the theoretical approaches to really make that's why you're seeing these breakthroughs in games like Go and poker and other areas, is because of these the combination of these technologies. And I agree with the other speaker, it's not something to worry about. It's pretty much inevitable at this point, so you have to plan for it because it's there. I've heard reports saying that we have to think about a society where virtually every job that you can imagine now no longer exists, and you have to put some kind of basic living wage in place for the masses of population and free them just to do things that they want to do from a creative intellectual standpoint, because all the kind of for-pay jobs now are no longer available.
Well, probably we can still invite the three of you back even when AI is dominating our society. I think we still need to have people who would articulate what's happening rather than having AI sitting in the chair for us. But one of the things extremely important, that is sometimes things are going less than what people have been talking about. In other words, this time we also see enormous amount of bubble, as we have seen in the past 60 years at different stages of development of AI. Mr. Saito, how can we tell the truth from the false or from the fake?
Well, I think that what Dr. McDuffie was saying was correct. I would elaborate on that the internet is one of the big pivots that allow people to suck up all this information that we describe here. So that is definitely a big change. The other big change that I think, what I say to people is that AI is actually going to really take off here because of what sensors do today and fundamentally what that means. And specifically, for example, our cell phones today have an average of 14 sensors. Just a couple of decades ago, that would have cost you $250,000. Now that these sensors are very prolific and very cheap, we are now, for the first time in humankind, using data that has never been entered by human beings.
Yeah.
Up to now, even the stuff on the internet, the human beings have tended to enter it. So now we have all this data that AI could further use. And so I think Bill Gates put it well, quoted that humans tend to overestimate the short term and medium term, but we tend to underestimate the long term. And so the long term impacts are, I think, the ones that really are worrying us. But I think that in the end, it's inevitable. And in this case, it's predictive. So I think I look forward to the future.
Well, me too. But, people are talking about competition, for example, Mr. Huang. So, Mr. Huang, what about that competition? Particularly, which country or which industry is likely to really get ahead, keeping up with the trend, which are likely to be left over? Or can we give some characteristics of these two very different groups?
I think in terms of competition in this AI field, I think the United States definitely is a leading country. China has been doing quite well in lots of areas in this artificial intelligence and side of it. If you look at this one look at like a pyramid, for example, on the top of it is the algorithm, the next layer is the chip, and then some servers and the applications at the bottom. China has been historically doing very well in the application side of it. I expect to see and some good progress being made in that area.
All right.
I know some of professors are doing really good, and Chinese professors on the algorithm side. I think China is another and leading country in terms of AI.
Dr. McDuffie, final words from you. What is your thought?
Yeah, I agree. The academic world is going to be churning out advances in this field very rapidly, and it's going to be up to entrepreneurs and business people to take advantage and to cross the valley, the so-called valley of death from pure research to application to take advantage of all these advances. The prices are coming down dramatically. They said the software program that the cold poker master program was bought for under $20,000.
Right.
And in 4 or 5 years from now, that software could be available on your smartphone. So the trajectory is clearly there, and the economics of it means that it's going to be a major impact on virtually every field of endeavor.
Okay, William Saito, Ernest McDuffie, Jay Huang, thank you so much.